There, ladies and gentlemen, I'm gonna stick my earpiece in, possibly turn the phone around. Hopefully, I can turn the phone around. Is that how it goes? No, it's the other way around. I was right the first time around. What do you know? Okay. Make sure you abide by the guidelines, it says. That's a new thing. Welcome to the live stream. You will be noticing that I am wearing a mask. I've got a sad reason for that. Ladies and gentlemen, I was coughing this morning when I was doing a very small opal thing on this machine, the Behemoth. It's clear to me that it's not doing the job that it's supposed to be doing. It should be excluding almost all of the dust. It's just not doing it. So I am going to be wearing a mask for the time being. That's okay. The next thing is I noticed that last time round there was massive epic technical difficulties with the live stream, and I'm sorry about that, everybody who was trying to do stuff. So what I've done now is I have my handy dandy phone here. I'm just unlocking it. Don't look at my passcode, that would be naughty. Oh yay. And let's see, yep, so I'm heading to the live site now. I'm going to turn the volume down so that that doesn't cause issues. So what I've got here is I've got a different phone here. Yep, and I'll just chat away. I'll just say, hello, live stream people. I have fortified. Right, okay, you can read that. I have fortified my chat up options. Exclamation mark, send. That's right, I said I have fortified. It decided to say I have voyeuristic. So, you know, apparently that's what it wants me to say. You know, it made me go through all of these hoops with the, you know, is this made for kids? Are you going to be, you know, destroying children or something? And then it does that to me. So, well, okay, you want to do voyeuristic stuff. I don't. Okay, so what I'm going to do is I'm going to flip this around. Hello, me, I suppose. That's me on the chat, I'm presuming. I'm going to just zoom in a bit. Not that far. Somewhere in the middle. Come on, somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle. Somewhere in the middle. No. Bad. Naughty. Gee. All right, that'll do. Perfect. Stay. Good live stream. Okay. Everyone can see that. So just make sure people know that that was Dad. Okay, I'm going to let my autocorrect just speak for itself. Autocorrect. Yeah, okay, so what I am going to do, however, is I am going to grab all of the things that we're doing today. So what I've got here in the handy dandy tray, I'm just turning on the water so you can see the water going, because I am going to try and keep things going safely. So what I've got in my handy dandy tray, I'm just taking everything out now. And I'm organised. Yay, organised for once. Okay, I've got a new opal here. I've got a Riley gun special. In case you have never seen what Riley puts on his opals, this is what he puts on his opals. Isn't that wonderful? This is number 68806, and it's a grade 5. That's what all that means. It's pretty disconcerting to see the stream chat that I've got going to make sure that I don't miss out on any messages. Oh, wow. The stream chat is going up here, and it's like 1/2 second delayed. I'm so glad I turned the volume off. It'd just kill me. Okay, so this is the thing that Riley Gunn has provided for me. It's an absolute epic monster of an opal. It's amazing. Look at it. I'm just going to admire this for a little while. Now we've got other things to do. We've got, well, intriguingly, that's where the colour bar is, I'm presuming. So when we're actually cutting this one for real, we know that we've got to kind of angle it a bit, just like that. Let's have a look at the other side, see what it does. I'm pretty certain that it finishes at about there. So we'll be cutting that bit off and angling it a bit. Essentially, we'll be playing this one by ear. So I've got a bit of an option for everybody. This is the pole. Look at this. This is how the pot it came to me in the packet, right? So my question is, because there's a nice little bit of colour sitting in here, have a look at that, beautiful little chunk of colour there. And in real life, it's much, much better. Like all of this is flashing colour, although the sun's just gone away, so maybe not. I'll try and do some colour options here, see if we can improve the colour situation. Ding. We'll call it glow. Do glow colour options. Maybe not realistic, but you know, who cares? As long as it's looking good. Let's see. Let's have a look at that chunk of colour now with glow on. And I'm checking it on the actual feed as it comes out to you guys. Or to you guy at the moment. I don't think that's me who's on the feed, but could well be. Anyway, this guy is quite good. For your entertainment pleasure, at any rate, the deal with this guy is, I want to know, do you want me to cut it, or do you want me to just leave it like this? Because I reckon that's a beautiful specimen, just like that. I reckon it's great. So that's down there. We've got these guys, of course. So this is another Riley Gun Special. This one is just a piece of opal, and in real life, I'll explain it to you. You might be able to see, you might not. It's just a little bit grainy on there, isn't it? Okay, so there's a slight rainbow. So what they call that is a kernel, in case you're interested. This is just a very small slice of a much larger structure, and that structure is called a kernel. So that's interesting. This one here is a nearly cut stone, and I'll see if there's anything that really needs to be done. Not sure yet. Having a look at it. I think there are a few things, but I might want to dop it before I actually do anything like that. And this thing really is not showing you much colour, which is a bit annoying, because this thing's really just beaming at me. But we'll put that down and just keep going, pretending that everything's okay. Everything went according to plan. Now, guys, this is a wood opal for sure. And I'm starting to get really good with fossils, so I'm starting to understand exactly where this is coming from and how the opal gets replaced. In my thinking, the wood opals, they get replaced in the same way a knobby does. So a void will appear in the strata when you get a knobby, and that void will be filled with slime mold. And I do believe this is exactly the same situation that happens with wood and any kind of fossil, to be honest. Done that one. This is the Riley gun. No, this is another one. Yeah, so I've got quite a few Riley guns sitting here ready to go, and I'll just tell you, real life, not epically spectacular, but pretty spectacular. There's like this there's this background of green which is sitting there, so good that I might actually just try and oversaturate the colors. Give me 1 second. Surely there's a setting here that oversaturates color. Yoink. Let's try blush. Surely blush. That sounds like the kind of thing we want. So we'll grab that, have a look at this under. Oh, yee, that's looking better, although it is quite bright. Let's have a look at this one under blush. Yeah, okay, blush is what we're going for. Blush is what we're going for. I will readjust in a second, just turning off the settings on my phone. Come on, off you get. There we go. Perfect. Okay, so just seeing we've got that blush setting on, we'll grab these other two so you can see what we're dealing with. Well, actually, I'll give you another three so you can see what we're dealing with. So this one. So you can see there's just a hint of colour there. It's quite nice. It looks like I was talking to, you know, that Cooper Petey kid, who's absolutely fantastic, by the way. And I said, that opal looks like it's got colour, and he said, it wants to have colour. And I reckon this is the same kind of opal. It wants to have colour. We'll see. We'll try and help it, you know, help it in its journey. This one, yeah, that's much better. Okay, good. Because it still is a lot brighter when you look at it in real life, but it's a lot brighter in real life, but, you know, that'll do. I'm at least seeing some kind of colour coming to me. And so here's the one which has got the kernel in it. And you can now see the kernel with greater clarity. That's much better. Looking on my chat feed, I can see a little bit of a what they call a Minecraft effect. We'll worry about that later. This one here, you can see the purples in it now, in the wood opal. Beautiful. Okay. What did I call this setting? Blush, I think. So we'll remember that. And so just have a look at this one again. This is the opal that I said, do we really want to cut it at all? Because it looks really good as a specie. You can see now that red just smashing out at you. That's why I'm going, maybe I want to cut it. There's all sorts of things, especially in the sunlight. Okay, so that's what you're seeing here. Okay, I've got some Anamuka Matrix, courtesy of our good friend Riley Gunn. Don't know what to do with this one. I'm just trying to show it in the best light possible. Come on, you can do it. There you go. Can you see all that beautiful colour? So this one, I think the film from the opal mills is there. These are the ones that he wants to retreat, I think. But I don't think you get much joy anyway. And it's a beautiful stone anyway, so, you know. Now, we've got some other interesting stones that are sitting here. This one is really interesting to me. It's an offcut. I started cutting it, had huge amounts of colour, and there was no reason to, you know, for it to not continue with the colour. But I just took a tiny scraping off it and bam, colour gone. I think it requires some very specific colour light situations to actually create the colour. Not sunflash, just specific. So I've got a few pieces of opal which are all of the same Ike. I'll just grab them all so you can see them. There's this one here. Not doing much, not doing much, not doing much. And of course these are all like pieces the same. You can see that pretty much cut them. But we're going to try and figure out the mystery of this stone together. I reckon there is something to do. There is some kind of mystery. If we unlock that mystery, we'll be able to get massive, massive, awesome colours out of it. So that's the goal with that piece. This is just a fun piece that I found. It's got chunks of colour everywhere. It's got lots of matrix embedded within it. It's not an Anamuka. But I'm going, can we do something with it? It's tiny. If we've got the time, we'll do that. I've got a few other chunks that are very similar. I've got a chunk of it's not matrix, but it's similar once again. You can see that we've got that interesting opal pattern that's sitting there in amongst it. So don't know what to do with it. It looks interesting. Going to give it a good old whirl on the machine. This is another piece of that mystery opal. I'm wondering if we can find the red that flashes through on any of these. You can't see it. Like, I cut it a little bit and then bam, all of it was gone. It was amazing. Okay, that's probably a piece I'm not going to bother with. Got a few pieces, just a few chunks here that are like this one's practically, well, this one's dropped. It decided it didn't want to, it couldn't cope with the fame. So I got this piece here. These are all tiny little off-cutty pieces, and I'm going to show you some other bits. This one's practically, I'm probably going to just dot that. Don't know why I put it in with the rest of them. This one here needs some, just a little bit of extra shaping. Actually, a lot of extra shaping because it's still an off-cut. I might have to be able to, well, there you go. That explains that. I'll drag this piece out so you can see it. Beautiful haunting blue-green. So we'll get that one popping out, smashing it out. We've got a few other ones. This one is what I call cherry blossom pattern, because if you do it right, you can actually get a kind of what looks like a cherry tree. But at the moment, it's not doing very much. Let me have a look on with my Mark 1 eyeball. Yeah, the lighting conditions just aren't appropriate for it from the looks of things. Nothing's happening, so I'll just leave that one. Okay, now the next thing I've got is just more than a dozen dop sticks. And we're probably going to, I've got more than this, but we'll just see how far we get because we don't have all day. But I've got all of these dop sticks, and what I'm considering doing is cutting one of the Riley guns first. Then we'll do some dop stick shaping, because I think that's one thing that you miss seeing when I'm doing all of this. I do a lot of dop stick shaping and you never see it. So I decided today is your lucky day. You're going to see some dop stick shaping, and I'll start with this absolutely spectacular Riley gun one. This guy here. It looks to me, let's have a good look at it. What do you reckon? Maybe, I think that at some stage was a marine creature. Sorry, I'm looking at it off camera. There is a crack running down. Let me see if we can show you the crack. Still too bright for me to use the torch for you, so you'll have to believe me. Just running down there is a crack. So with the crack, we've got the option, do I just cut it from the start? Yeah. Okay. Yeah, we'll cut it from the start. And the reason why I've made that decision is that whenever you're asking yourself the question, do I cut it? The answer is yes, as a general rule. Do I slice it? The answer is yes, because there's a lot of hoo-ha involved with slicing it, and yeah, you know in your heart of hearts that you want to slice it. So we'll do this guy first, and we'll see how we go. First things first, though, I am going to slice just laterally, so just across there, just to get a general idea of what's going on here. I might be a bit generous with the proportions at the moment. So looking through, there's absolutely nothing. So what I'll do is I'll square it up a bit and see what's behind here. Should have cut that, definitely. So I'll square it up by cutting. So that's the leftover chunk, and there's still some colour on it, so that might make a very small stone at some stage. Doing well so far. So I'm just having a look at the side. We're not seeing much of a colour bar there. So this is very superficial. This means that, wow, this is going to be quite an operation to cut it. From the looks of things, you can just see the crack there. I'm going to cut right along the crack laterally. because that's the only thing for it. That was a shonky cut, but that's okay. Whee! See ya. Yeah. Cop that, because I have a guard to stop that. Beautiful. So it created it napped off. The joke is that the oldest trade in the world is a flint napper, not what you think. So it napped off. I'm just going to lift this up a bit so that you can see colour maybe. So napping is the process of cleaving a flake off a rock. So this is going to be interesting. There is only the slightest hint of colour. So if I go too deep, I'm going to lose the whole stone. The picture is looking a lot better for me than what it looks like for you, so don't worry about it looking too dismal. Just making sure that I don't make a mistake here. What I'm going to have to do, I'm going to hold where the colour actually goes to. The colour goes across like that. So that means that pretty much this entire diagonal along here is waste. Instead of slicing it though, I am going to grind it down because I want to make sure that I get what I want. You should see some of the colour that's winking back at me. It's amazing. Just making sure that I'm doing the correct corners. It's very easy to get disoriented when you're doing this and accidentally cut the wrong corner, and then you're left with less opal to deal with. That's a problem. So we're still left with about a carat, I reckon. Maybe even a carat and a half. Stone itself is quite light, very non-dense, so I'm suspect that even though it's light in colour, this is actually a lightning ridge stone, because it's kind of, best way to describe it, feels like butter. I can track down the number and check with Riley Gunn. So along there like that. Along there like that. Whoop. Up there like that. Okay, like that. Just so you know, it's actually got a slope in 2 dimensions, which makes orienting yourself to the stone that much more difficult. So I am going to literally slice that corner to make it easier. No colour yet. No colour yet. Going to start doming it a bit. Because we are going to run into the colour soon. But not yet. Right. There we are, we're into the colour, finally. I knew there was some because it's like on the top of the stone. If you're new and you're wondering why I said voyeuristic, it was my autocorrect. I couldn't be bothered changing it because I had other things to do than to sit there and admonish my autocorrect. No colour. Now we're moving under a carat, I reckon. For those of you who want to know how to do the calculations, basically 1 square centimetre of opal, if it's purely opal, that will be 5 carats. 1 cubic centimetre, sorry. That is courtesy of my science degree at University of Sydney, so thank them for that. Okay, so basically what I've decided is this is essentially a triangle. You can see the triangle of colour there. Much brighter in the flesh, so to speak. And that's alright. Once I get everything sorted out and docked up, it'll look beautiful. Looks like it wants to be a drop. So at the moment, it's a drop shape. So we'll see. At the moment, all I'm doing is just getting rid of all of the unnecessary parts. So you get straight down to the colour. Right, very carefully take that top off. I'm not happy doing this. No, it survived. Don't like touching the colour for obvious reasons. Alright, so the colour goes... Basically that's all of the colour. I'm just checking to see how deep it goes. Right, so I'm just going to carve this bit. And I think that what we need to do is we need to cool down with this stone. That's pretty much what it's going to be. It looks like just under a carat, and it'll probably end up being a drop shape. But I'm not comfortable just continuing to hack into it. I'll give it a night's rest and we'll see what it looks like at the end of that. Very quickly, I'll just take all the edges off this one. That'll be a fast one. Okay, so if you have a look here, there's a bit of thinness along here. I'm going to slice along the thinness. That'll be definitely a doublet at some point. Absolutely no point in trying to even out a stone that's two different thicknesses. You'll just end up reducing the size of the stone. That's about maybe a quarter of a carat doublet, and I'll do that later. For those who don't know, a doublet is when you get a piece of, have I got some pots here? Basically a piece of non-precious opal, usually dark in colour, so you'll just have to forgive me here. So you get a piece of darker than this, but basically opal that has no shine in it. And then you get your fragment of opal, like this one that just got cut off, and you put them together. Essentially glue them together, and that makes a beautiful looking stone. Doesn't look like it at the moment because these two haven't been prepared properly, but trust me, it works. Now, what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully sharpen up all the edges. Hopefully, what I'm worried about is these little dots here. This is wood opal for sure. Those dots there concern me because if they go too deep, then they are going to ruin my day. I very rarely do a cushion cut, but I'll keep it square just in case I decide, you know what, today is the day I'm doing a cushion cut. Those dots don't seem to be causing problems. You can just go. See ya. You can go too. See ya. Yeah, you can go too. I'm sure those fragments will come in handy sometime. But certainly reduce the probability of me doing a cushion cut. Should have cut that corner off as well, but I was getting impatient. Could have been $100 stone. Impatience just cost me $100. Admittedly, sometimes if you patiently carve it away properly, you still get nothing, so I'm not that concerned. A lot of the time when you buy the rough, they call it a gamble, and it's true, it is a gamble. Better kind of gamble than a lotto ticket, but still a gamble nonetheless. So a very interesting headline about the Ashes Tour, which is a cricket game. Australia versus England. The English captain was not going to have a beer with the Australian captain after the game. Oh, something really serious has gone down there. I think, more importantly, not many people are watching it this time around, and I think they're trying to drum up some controversy just to get people watching it. I can understand the issues though, like, I mean, when you think about it, there's a war going on in Russia, there's famine going on in Africa at the moment. There's all sorts of geopolitics happening, and like, I don't think we should be teaching the Americans at the moment in our international streams how to play cricket. We've got other things to worry about. We're not here on this earth to form conjugal relations with the local arachnid population. If you know what that means, good on you. If you don't, I'm not explaining it. Now this guy is ultra clear, so that means that it's a crystal opal, jelly crystal kind of thing. What I'll be doing, I reckon, is I'll be using some of the fancy pants stuff that I homemade to try and facet it a bit, because I think faceting it will actually make it shine out a bit more than it's currently doing. There's just a small piece of material which is sitting in the base of the opal, just there. We're best served getting rid of that. If you are one of the usual suspects, by the way, just so that you know, I do have my phone here that is sitting on top of everything so that I don't miss any chat messages. Last time, I don't know what happened, but my previous phone just glitched. So I'm still recording with previous phone, so that means that it does whatever it does. So I'll at least be able to talk to you in the chat. Alright, so... well, theoretically, who knows? Maybe the chat's quiet because you can't get through. That possibility is always, well, possibility, I suppose. I'm estimating we're down to about a carat now. A little bit over. Still a bit proud on this side, so we'll just try and... sometimes it's counterintuitive. If it's proud on one side, if you just trim the end of it, it means it ends up a bit thicker. Hello, Daniela. I can see you and hear you and stuff. Well, I can't hear you. At least I got to see a message from someone. Well, this little hole is going very deep into the opal. Yes, you're probably more interested in how the birds are doing, Daniela, and they're doing great. Max is just kind of sitting there, bemused. Loki's looking at me going, why aren't you paying me attention? Okay, there we go. That'll be dopped up now. It's not as skin coloured in real life as what you're seeing here. What I'll do is I'll pop this guy into my rubber aid pile. Then that one will be fixed up later. Now I'm going to go and grab a few of my other ones which are already pre-docked. When we have pre-docked ones, depending on the power of the dock, sometimes things go flying. So what I'm doing is I'm having a look. I think there's a lot of disagreement between opal cutters, but one of the things that they do say is you should sight your opal as precisely on the dop stick as possible. They are. This one is so lopsided, I've got to be very careful. That's a good way to create a bad opal. Okay, so I'll just go up underneath to make sure I've got a nice shape. This is something you don't normally see me doing in the live stream. Normally I just kind of cut an opal and then put it in a pile and away we go. This time around I'm doing the next part of the production, which is getting the shape absolutely perfect. So important. This opal at the moment is also slightly concave up, so it's the two ends are pointing upwards, which I really want to do something about. Nice dome is very important with these things. Sometimes the reward you get for doing that is, you're going to see if I don't think the quality is good enough to show you. But basically what's going on here is that there's a lot of beautiful colour that's coming through, and I would never have gotten that colour had I not wanted to shape it like I'm shaping it. Sometimes you're a bit timid when you're cutting it. You don't want to cut too deep. You don't want to break the colour. Sometimes if you cut too deep, you do break the colour. So 6 of one, half a dozen of the other. Catch 22. All the other metaphors we can drag in if we'd like to. Right, there we go. That's a better oval. If we very gently run it around a circle. Looking good. Okay, that's going into my dop stick pile. That's going to be sanded rather than cut on a giant massive wheel. What have we got next? This one here. This one is way less complete. You can see how it's all rough in shape and stuff. So, hasn't touched a piece of sandpaper. Nice piece of colour on the side. Looks like it's facing from the side, which is a bit annoying. Okay, so what I need to do is I need to get this side as close to the top as possible, so to speak. So I've got to kind of orient the opal a little bit. So, how do we do this? So what I'm going to do is I'm just going to this will be a two-stage process. You're not going to see the end of this. Yes, self-taught and self-invented. All of the materials you see here are pretty much my invention. This is a Dremel, it's a Dremel clone. And it's not necessarily an amazing thing for to see someone actually fix a Dremel and do lapidary like this, but this exact setup is probably not anywhere else in Australia. Although I know that one of Phil Mill's mates actually invented a machine which takes after my one, which I'm claiming it even if I didn't actually inspire it. I'm going to say I did. Not at all arrogant, is it? As far as lapidary is concerned, yeah, it is self-taught, and there are a few tricks to the trade, but I think it's one of those things that everyone can get into. If you can draw a circle, I reckon you can make an opal. And there are nuances, but you can learn those nuances. All you have to do is destroy a $5,000 stone, no problem. The good news is it's only like a $100, $200 stone, and to turn it to a $5,000 stone you have to, well, lapidary it. So you're never really losing that much money on them. But the process of actually turning a lump of rock into an opal can be frustrating, because you can make a mistake, or it was just not meant to be. Like sometimes the opal's got an inclusion that no one saw, or there's just a problem. It's too soft on one side, and so you can never get it straight, and before you realise it, it's all skew width, and it's too small to be worth worrying about. There's plenty that can go wrong. You can see, just for example, I'll try and get this directly head on at the moment. If I can try and spot the thing. Just in the back corner here, yeah, you can just see it. In the back corner here, there is a crack, and I've got to get rid of that crack. But that crack is on the back of the opal. So what I'm doing is I'm getting it as good as possible here, and then I'm going to have to deal with that crack, and that crack could completely ruin the opal. So I've seen some people who cut them on YouTube. When they see something like that, that's when you hear the dramatic music start. Oh, you have no idea, Daniela. There are people who spend their entire time just tumbling rocks because they love that kind of thing. But the other thing is, there's no telling what that pebble is. You could have just found the world's largest sapphire. And I know for a fact, I've been looking around on the ground, and I've noted that there is potch opal in places where potch opal is not supposed to be. So I think that opal is more prevalent as well. So one of those things, pretty stones you're seeing on the beach, it could well be an opal. Not to mention the fact that, every river starts off in the centre of Australia and ends up in, well, the ocean. So you never know. That rock could have started off in Cooperviti or Lightning Ridge or wherever. So yeah, okay, so this one, for the time being, I declare it done. I'm going to have to take it off the dock to do any better with it. Okay, let's have a look at the next guy. What have we got? What have we got? What have we got? Okay. This guy here. Basically, I'm looking at it. If you can have a look, it's got a bit of an overbite, basically. So I'll be getting rid of that overbite, so to speak. And also, there's nothing particularly wrong with it, but in my mind, that's a bit too square. So I'll try and make it a more pleasing shape. But there's nothing amazingly wrong with this opal. There was supposed to be something on this stick, I'm sure of it. Oh well, that's that done. It's okay, I've got the opal here. What I can do now is I can use this opportunity to get rid of its overbite. And we look on the back, there are cracks, so we'll try and get rid of those too. You're right, Daniela, no one would. So who knows how many diamonds, rubies, emeralds, whatever, garnets even, you've passed up. And tanzanite, for example, I think that's the one that's really making the rounds. Very expensive gem. And you never know, it could just be everywhere and people just haven't noticed it. One thing I've noticed about the world in general is, that was Loki, world in general, that we are all guilty of failing to pay attention. More pleasing shape time. Did you hear Loki there? Don't want to sit there and mess with it too much. It's around about a carat. It's looking much better. Get rid of that corner there. Yeah. Yeah. She's also got my daughter's there at the moment, so she'll probably come in and say hi to Loki, not to everybody else. She doesn't want to have her face shown on television, YouTube. Alright, so this is what this guy is doing. That's looking much better. And don't worry about my finger being perilously close to the blade. Let me show you. No damage. So I'll have to re-dop that, but pretty much ready to go. That's got some nice colour on it. Let me have a look at some of these other ones. This one here. Hopefully this one's got enough colour for people to see. Yeah, it's been a good day for Loki. She'll be coming out. I've got to go pick up my other daughter from her mother's house. So I might live stream the birds a little bit later, because they're having quite a fun time of it. Oh, I should actually show you this one, because you'll like this one. If I can get the thing to shine. Whoop. There, I see that. Cut a giant chip out of it when I was trying to just show you what it looks like. Alright, so let's gently shape it. Okay, so you can see that it's a bit misshapen. It's got a bit of a beer belly. We're going to get rid of that. Yeah. So finding rocks, especially in Australia, like you see, I spend some time around Newcastle these days, and I love it because the fossils are everywhere, and not everyone's cup of tea, obviously, but fossils have their own fascination. And the thing that bugs me about these fossils is that they're approximately 300 million years old. Yeah, I know. Let's see if I could move this out here a bit. Maybe that'll do it. That is way more spectacular than... There we go. There's a little bit of colour. but it's much more spectacular. Maybe over here. Come on. You can see a bit of the colour, not very much. You can see there's a bit of like green, yellow just shining through. If you saw what I saw, like there's a kaleidoscope, there's pinks and stuff all through it. I might have to just get this one and take a good photo of it and post it, because you would not believe what I'm looking at compared to what you're seeing. Also, I cut a huge chunk out of it trying to show everyone. Don't worry, that's my fault. Are we going to... Oh yeah, you're seeing a little bit of a sparkle now. Oh, just a little bit though. Oh, there we go. Yay, a bit of sparkle. It's still brighter than that, but that's better. One thing people don't know is that, like, Melbourne in Australia, I was watching a geographics channel like I do. Nice geologist dude. Melbourne is essentially built on gold. So if you just dig a hole in the ground and pan it, you'll find gold. But not just a small amount, a huge amount of gold. Masses of gold. And when I've been looking at some sand under the microscope, a lot of the sand is zircon and diamond. Not a lot. And remember, the grains are very, very small, so it's not exactly valuable. But, you know, the point is, there's a lot of stuff there that people don't know about. Okay, that's going to the sandpaper now, because that one, well, the colour seems to be getting dragged out of it more and more as I cut it. Potentially, I should join up with some of those YouTubers who actually do that. I can't pan for crap, so putting this one away, and I'm going to get another one. Let's have a look. This one's interesting to me, if not one else. So you can see the blues there, definitely blue. So maybe this colour that I've selected, this colour scheme that I've selected, it targets blue more than anything else. That's okay. But there is, and it's almost impossible to see anyway, but on this part here, there's actually red if I'm good enough to bring it out. So, first things first, I'll just shape it. One thing I do, and I think that everyone should do, is just do what they enjoy. Find a hobby and enjoy it. And Danielle, if you're looking at rocks and going, those rocks are pretty, you're right, the rocks are pretty. It's just the truth. And if you can find a way to bring out that beauty, there's plenty of ways to do it. At the moment, I've got epoxy kit that's been given to me by a dear friend who actually works at a plastics company. Works. owns the plastics company, actually. But you can definitely use that to make jewellery. As a matter of fact, that's what his wife does. Makes what do they call it? Oh, that was that was Max. We've been encouraging a very, very cute noise. And Max, like, enough of that loud machiney thing. Pay attention to me. Oh, this is coming out absolutely lovely. I know, Max, it's coming out beautifully. Alright, so what I'm going to suggest with this is that even to my eye at the moment, it doesn't look like much, but it will. You said you see a series in my future. This thing has a future. This particular opal has a future. Let's go gently. That's hitting about the 2 carat mark too. It's a very pretty opal if I manage to get through to the back of it. Oh, you saw some of it? Saw some? Hang on. Let's just gently see if we can get that happen again. There's the blue. We know where the blue is. That's fine. But we want to see the reds. Blue and green, fine. Red, red, just down here on this end. Red, 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 red. So, let's see, there should be more right in the middle. Where that black is, there's actually red. A huge amount of it too. There's some more blue. There's some more epic colour. And yeah, that colour is absolutely phantasmagorical if you saw it in real life. Yeah, look at that. So that one, I'm not going to mess with it much more than that because it needs to be done properly, and I need to use sandpaper. So all I'd succeeded doing at the moment is, if I spent too much more effort on it, is I just grind it into powder, which is not exactly the future that it wants. Alright, so that's that guy. I'll post photos at the end. I think one of them's already gone into my rubs collection. But I can fish that one out, no problem. Hopefully if you can see it, you'll like this one. Yeah, you can see the colours all shining through. Beautiful little one. Now this one, it's a little bit of a diamond in the rough at the moment because like there's that grey and black blotchiness that's still in there. Right. So at least I've gotten the shape a bit better. You can see there's still a little bit of a divot in there. Got to make this absolutely perfect. Imagine if you're a rich snobby aristocracy, you would want nothing but absolute perfection in the shape. So that's what we have to go for. What I would say is that if you don't see perfection in the shape, that's probably evidence that the stone is real and not fake. But if you can cut a nice shape, you can see there's still that bite out of it. Try and get the correct shape. Now, just so that you know, there's a bit of deception in there because there's a bit of dark potch underneath there as well, which creates an artificial shadow zone, which makes it look like it's misshapen. But it is misshapen a little bit. Nearly got rid of that potch, and all of a sudden that bite just looks like it's almost vanished. There we go. Okay, let's have a look. Okay, so what we've got is, you'll see it here, there's actually a border of black potch on it, and I'm wondering what to do with that, because I like having black borders on it, but it certainly does give it the wrong impression of shape, so I'll have to think about what to do with that. In the meantime, I can just be a bit more fastidious with parts of it. And at least it's a pretty one. It's glittering away in the light there for us. Thank you for behaving yourself. It's very hard not to anthropomorphize these things because they really do act as if they've got a personality of their own. Even though I'm a scientist, maybe, having a little bit of mystery in the world, yeah, that's nice. Maybe everything isn't defined by principles and stuff. Maybe there is a fun element to the world, one that you can't quantify. That'd be great. I'm sick of going, this is this way because science. Alright, so you can see how this is just getting prettier and prettier. And if you're going to do the anthropomorphic part of it, you'll be going, it's because I'm accepting my fate in the universe or something like that. That it's decided to become more pretty. There we go. What I do know is there is a layer just underneath here which I'm trying to go for. This white part at the end here, there is something underneath it. I'm sure of it. I am certain of it. And I'm just digging, mining for that beautiful little piece. On this side maybe. I am going to cut that out with a piece of sandpaper because there is definitely something pretty epic in there. You can see fake opals are easy to spot because they're too uniform. The other thing that's happening at the moment is that there are Ethiopian opals, and there's something called hydrophane, which basically means that they absorb water. And that's not a problem. I think that all things around are beautiful objects as they are. But you just got to tell people where things come from. That's all. So people try to pass off these Ethiopian opals as like a lightning ridge opal or something. There's two problems with that. The first one is that it's pretty obvious to anybody who knows what they're talking about that what an Ethiopian opal is. You can spot them a mile away. The second thing is that it damages the reputation of both areas, because if you're sitting there trying to palm off an Ethiopian opal, which has its own amazing beauty, as a matter of fact, I think I've got one here. It's got its own amazing beauty. If you're trying to palm it off as a lightning ridge one, you're instantly saying this thing is a cheap piece of rubbish, which it is not. It is beautiful in its own right. This is just getting better and better. It's becoming one of those opals which is moving very far up in value, so I've got to stop using this particular blade here to cut it because it's getting good. So moving that one down. Let's have a look around and see what we've got here. Oh, this is a fun one. Hopefully you'll see what it is. Well, I've been at this for an hour. Probably should give it up soon, but you know. Go over this side, see if we can spot. There you go. You can see a little bit of the colour. There you go. Look at that. Oh, curiosity, yeah. Okay. So I'm taking it. Oh, okay. Take it over to here. You can see that colour. Let me just do a bit of an experiment with one of these other opals here. This one. Let's bring this one over into that particular piece of light. See what happens. Okay, I think we're getting something more realistic there. So let me grab, which one was one that we were having trouble looking at? No, it's this one. This one's absolutely fantastic, and it was just not doing anything. So let me have a quick check over to here. Even down here, look at that. Oh yeah. There you go. Now you're getting to see what I see. Look at that. So, yeah, those ones, I don't tend to sell them expensive, but I could. These, when they have that kind of colour, they go for thousands of dollars a carat. So, I can remember dumping a whole heap on Gumtree for $20 a stone, I think it was. They were gone in 2 days. They weren't anything like these ones, by the way. They were a little bit more rubbish. You get the general gist. So what I'm going to do here is I'm going to try and curve down, because I have a feeling that there's, yeah, okay, cool. Okay, so let's go to here where we know that you can see what I'm looking at. So there's one side which has got colour in it. There we go, have a look at that. That's an Aussie opal if I've ever seen it. The green and gold. Yeah, go the green and gold. Aussie, Aussie, Aussie. Oi, 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 etc., etc. We're going to win that Olympic thing. Yay! Ashes. Yay! Oh, this is coming up absolutely smashing. That's what I'm looking at there. These things also have a habit of being what they call directional, which means that they look better on one direction. And I just saw a hint of blue. This is a really valuable one. Really, really valuable. If you ever see blue on red, which I am seeing, oh wow, okay, sorry, you're not seeing this. See if I can get that. I'm starting to doubt the actual science behind the opals. So I'll tell you the story that everyone knows. But the most common colour, of course, is no colour at all, potch. And the reason for that is allegedly because of the way that tiny little spheres are arranged. Very similar into how, if you remember CDs, a CD is actually thin film interference, which is caused by little pits and flats which behave in very similar ways to spheres in opal. That's a long explanation. The larger the sphere, the redder the colour, basically, and red is the colour we want to see. But we also want to see blue and red. And the reason for that is if the spheres are all mixed together, then you don't get any colour at all. So that means that it's almost impossible to get blue and red together, because if the spheres are mixed, there's no colour. So if you see an opal which is by some fluke got the blue and the reds together, then that's worth an epic amount of money. That's why I suddenly got excited with this one, because there's reds here, but there's also blues that are starting to show up. And this guy is a Cooper Pedy opal, in case you're wondering. But it is a special Cooper Pedy opal which comes from one of Riley Gunn's mines. And it's kind of a matrixy thing. Which doesn't mean that it wears glasses, goes around by the name of Neo, and bashes computer simulated people around. It means that it's got opal embedded in sandstone, which is embedded in the opal. This green and gold, I'm loving it. I'm just absolutely loving it. Once again, I'm not going to mess with it too much because this needs to go onto the sandpaper to get properly done. I'm also doing the same thing that I was doing with the other one and making it less square. And yes, I am nervous if you're seeing how close to the colour I'm cutting to try and get the shape right. You see, getting the opal right is really, really important, and sometimes you've got to hack into the colour to do that. The other thing that I've just noticed is that the opal is slightly asymmetrical, and the asymmetry is on the coloured side. So if I cut that down a bit, and that is risky in its own right too. I have had situations where I've cut down an opal to the correct proportions, and that was just enough to make all the colour disappear. So it went from a $10,000 stone to nothing. Couldn't give it away. Put this around. Thank you, Riley Gunn, for getting me this one. Very kind man. And if you head on the Opal auction site and see anything from 53 Frogs, you might find out that you could maybe bid $10 American and get yourself a nice piece of opal pot. And then you can have a look at it and just sand it with your hands with just a piece of sandpaper. See how you like cutting the opals. They're beautiful. Alternately, I could get some of my pre-cut ones, and all you need to do then is just shine them up with sandpaper. So there we go. Move it over to here because apparently that's where the action is. Look at that, sparkling away. Oh, she's so pretty. I shouldn't be like that, but this one, for some reason, is a girl. I'd suggest they have a power of their own. And guys go weak at the knees because we're idiots. So look at this guy. I think this one is self-explanatory. So having a look at it. Well, we'll have a look on the side because you'll see the reds, hopefully. A little bit. Okay, so what do I want to do with that? Not a hell of a lot, because it's already looking pretty phantasmagorical. It's just got the tiniest of overblights. And all I want to do is just get rid of some of the wax from around the sides. That's all I want to do, so that I can sand it properly. So that's all I'm doing with that one. That was an easy. So look at this one. This is the same as the other one, actually. Yeah, this one's just a bit wonky, but it's got a lot of sparkles in it. This one's got what they call a salmon skin pattern, basically fish skin. Got to figure out, okay, it's a beautiful stone, but it's got all sorts of issues happening. So I've got to first take the wax off the back of it, just to see what's going on. Nine times out of 10, if you're badly cutting an opal, it's because you badly dopped it. Dopping is the process of sticking it on a stick. Okay, so what's happening here is I'm very gradually just taking the wax off, and at the same time I'm fixing the shape, which is, it's one of those I meant to do that moments, you know. Oh yeah, I'm so good. This is precisely what I had in mind. I was thinking of doing something similar, but like, no, it was not expected to be so successful just fixing up the wax in the back. Still need to fix this up a bit. What I'd suggest, Daniela, is if you're taking a walk along the beach and you find a pretty rock, pick it up. If I don't know what something is, I have friends from the geology department of Sydney Uni who can tell me. Find someone in the know, just ask them. I'm betting that the rocks you pick up are probably quartz based, and although they might not necessarily have any inherent value, quartz is what gold gets stuck into, so you know, you never know. Besides, the reason why this particular opal over here is pretty is because it sparkles a bit, and some rich lady is willing to pay for a lot of money for it. That's basically why it has value at all. The funny thing is, I agree with the rich lady because I think they're beautiful. I think that the magic corner has lost its magic. What's happened is it's gotten dark, and my automatic light has become activated. So let's try going the other side. Yeah, lost its magic. So maybe if I do this, how's that? Well, it was fun while it lasted. You can see a little bit of the sparkle, but not much. Oh well. This one needs to be shaped a bit over this side. Aha. Maybe this one just doesn't want to give up its secrets on the internet. Fair enough. I'll see you in my garage one day. It's just full of rocks. Have you tried tumbling them? Because I think, you can either get a tumbler from the interweb for 20 or 30 bucks. National Geographic sells one very cheap. And all you really need is just some ceramic media or some sand even, maybe some aluminium oxide to just chuck in with the rocks. Stick it in a tumbler, leave it for a couple of weeks. I think the basic idea is rocks are nature, essentially. Rocks are nature, and people who like nature, and I seem to recall you having a few interesting posts about making sure I'm looking after Max and Loki, which is appreciated. But people who are interested in those sorts of things, they're also more capable of seeing the beauty in any part of nature, I reckon. I think that's what's happened to you. You've found stuff which other people consider to be mundane, and you love them. And I reckon that's a special trait, so don't ever lose that. Right, I saw a little piece of stuff fly off that. So I am not going to tempt fate anymore with that one. I'm going to have a meal very soon, so I'll just get one or two more of these done. You know what I'm going to do? I'll fix this one up, and then I'll do an actual opal from the pile, just for funsies for me. Oh, where are my manners? I didn't show you what this one was. Apparently this one's a police car. You seen that? Probably not. It's showing an awful lot of promise. Okay, so the flaky and shiny ones are mica. So you can't tumble them with the quartz because the mica is very soft. And I can give you a little bit of information. It's shiny and flaky when you see it that way, but when it weathers, it becomes an essential part of the soil, which grows us and makes us, strong, and, we can eat and stuff. Micas are agriculturally important. I'm trying to think. So basically the rocks that you are looking at, if I'm right, I could be wrong because I haven't seen the darn thing, but those rocks, they would have come up in the granite or maybe even come out in a basalt eruption, depending on where you are. I think you're south coast from... You and me both, Daniela. I did a Bachelor of Soil Science, University of Sydney. Loved it so much I ended up doing a PhD with it. So there's nothing hippie about rocks. They sustain us, and you can be all hippie about it if you want, but like it's the truth. They do sustain you, and so you can use all of the words. They give you all the good vibes because without them, there ain't no vibes. Yeah, so a little while ago I went to the markets and went to a hippie shop. They're lovely people, and well, I did a video on one of them. They actually had some serpentine, which is asbestos. So I bought that because I didn't want them to, die. But I also bought some obsidian, and I love obsidian. Just love, just love the soil sun, just the natural sciences in general. There's something so good about them. If you did your degree at Sydney Uni, there's a chance I taught you statistics. It's definitely the soil science that brought me into this. Look at that, beautiful. So I'm going to do one more. And that one more is going to be one of the rocks that I'm hoping to turn into something pretty. This guy's come up fantastically. Yeah, this one's a dude. And yes, I do. Am I like from the 1950s maybe? Assigning genders to them. That's South Coast, yeah. You're not really allowed to take them. Well, the place where I take fossils from are housing estates, and they're about to demolish the entire area and move the rock to landfill. And I'm certain it's probably, technically not a good idea to take them, but like they're going to get destroyed. So no, I'm taking them. Whenever there's a resident around, I will ask for permission, but generally speaking, I just can't bear for that just to be either crushed into nothing or have concrete poured over it or whatever else. I'm taking it. End of story. You've never seen granite? Have you been down to, okay, so, yeah, you're not far. Near Canberra is where all the granite is. And also, Mount Kosciuszko, you'll see granite tours sitting there. Just notice this. Should dot that really. And this is not clever actually. So I'll just get this done and then I'm just going to leave it alone. Beautiful little rock by the way. Yeah, one thing I got it here, I do. There's something called a BIF, a banded iron formation. Where are we? Give me a second. Yeah. Yes. I kind of know roughly where you are. I went over to Eden And I'm trying to figure out how to get all the way in here because I've got a piece of sheathing, and you'll see why I'm having trouble in a second. Yeah. Here we go. Ta-da! So this is a banded iron formation, a giant chunk of ironstone. Let's get to the red bit. There we go. Zooming out a bit. So that's that stuff, and if it's just too big to actually show it around, I'll have to get another section of it. But that's one of the rocks that I'm absolutely fascinated with. Absolutely fascinated. People just want to make cars out of it because you can get iron out of it. But there's so much more to these rocks than just cars. Is there a smaller chunk around? Well, maybe that would have been easier from the beginning, from the get-go. There we go. So this is a banded iron formation, nice piece of ironstone. And this has got its own nice piece of story too. So if you have a look, you can see the bands, hopefully, just along there. Maybe if we wet it, you'll see it a bit better, or maybe not. But basically, these things were formed during what they called snowball Earth. So the oxidation state of the oceans changed, which is generally considered a bad thing if you're like being alive. And all of the iron changed its state and was deposited onto these iron formations. Okay, this is the last cab off the rank. This guy is kind of cool, so zoom in a bit. Whoa! Too much, too much, too much, too much. There we go. Perfect. Alright, so last one. Let's just take off what needs to be taken off. Whoa, I've been on this for 1.5 hours. Wow, okay. Oh, that's nice. So, they always say that you need to... Oh, this is interesting in its own right. There's a kernel there. So this dark patch, if you can see anything, that dark patch is just what they call a kernel. It's basically a chunk of opalized material which is darker than the rest. An inclusion, probably. No one knows really. No one knows anything about all this stuff. But what I found out is that in the boundary between the kernel and the opal, you sometimes can get the red colour happening. So I don't necessarily think it's just spheres that cause it to happen. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to very carefully get the sand out, if I can, and then I'm going to flip it over, and on this side I'll try and get a nice red opal. So... There was a time when people didn't want to live in national parks. I have no idea why you wouldn't want to. Okay, so what are we going to do? I'm going to cut this little triangle off for a start. That might make a nice little gem later on. Right, so that's good inside there. This second triangle needs to go, so I'll carve it up to about there. I'll make it parallel whilst we're there. Why not? How'd I go? Well, that was not that good. Being a klutz is what we call that. Okay, it's too small to carve other parts off it, so I'm just going to let its shape evolve naturally now. Okay, bit of a natural chip and a crack, so we'll get rid of that. I'm not seeing any colour yet. Not concerned, it's a nice rock anyway. People should buy opals for the beauty of the rock. They won't. Just buy them as an investment, why wouldn't you? Okay, so that inclusion that you see right up in there, that's a piece of organic matter, like an insect stuck in amber or something like that. I think that it's nothing important. Maybe a tiny little dinosaur footprint. I don't think so. Jervis Bay. Lovely. I've been to Eden. I presume you've been around there. Seen Old Tom. Beautiful neck of the woods. I wouldn't be complaining about living there. But quite frankly, I don't complain about living anywhere. I think we're quite fortunate. I'm sure you understand the concept that money isn't everything anyway. And the funny thing about it is, it's not that you have nice hair of things, it's actually it's genuinely true. Money doesn't buy you happiness. You want to see any proof of that, have a look at Elon Musk and who else? Those Russian people who are currently invading other countries because they feel too small. Honestly. They had all the money in the world and all they wanted to do was hurt other people, honestly. Yeah. Enough money to be comfortable? Yeah, sure, but you know, realistically it can go hang itself. Like and subscribe. Super thanks. I'm not big enough in YouTube to even earn money from it. This is brought to you by War Thunder or VPN, Atlas VPN. Do you know that hiding your address can save you money? Just use my name in the link below. And you'll get 1,000 doubloons and an internet connection. Did you know that hackers can get into your computer? By a VPN for reasons we don't understand ourselves. We encrypt your stuff because your phone doesn't. Okay, I'm just amusing myself now, Daniela, sorry. I'll hit the reset button now. Right, so there we go. Nice little very, very tall, very, very domey kind of gem here at the moment. Also, it's not showing very much colour. It's not very sparkly. It's just essentially something that might come good if I shine it up. Absolutely. Stuff is just stuff. One of my other 1 minute shorts, like, because a couple of people had bought some flashy cars and whatever else, and I could buy a flashy car if I really wanted to destroy my financial future. If it was important enough for me, yeah, I would. But, like, it's not. And, like, you know, I'm happy to just, you know, find things to make out of timber I find on the side of the road. I literally am perfectly happy to do that sort of stuff. You can't eat prestige, is what I said. It's in one of my shorts somewhere. Not as in my clothing shorts. That's a bit creepy. But in the YouTube shorts. Stuff is indeed just stuff. But rocks are pretty, remember that. But I think what you assign value to says an awful lot about yourself. So I'm happy to just enjoy a sunset. Hope I'm around when Beetle just explodes, because that'll be really cool to watch. Buy an opal for $1 and maybe make it pretty. I don't care if anyone buys it. Pretty opal is good. The simple things, basically. Alright. I'm turning this off now. Ugh. 1 hour, 48 minutes. You can hear Pony in the background. Here's a gem. What I'm going to do very quickly. Oh, I just dropped it. I have to pick it up in the morning. What I'll do is I'll quickly move over and see what Pony and Max are doing. Oh, my arms. So I'll grab my other phone too, so that I can actually read what's being said in the messages. Yeah. People can be pretty, but beauty is something else. I agree with you on that. Hello, Pony. Hello, Pony. What are you looking at? There we go. Loki. Oh, my daughter has been here. Okay. It's okay. Daniela wants to say hi. Good bird. I'll give you one of these. That has been carefully scattered on the floor. There you go. Are you sick of them? Okay. Not a problem. Max, how you going? I remember that look from years ago. Penguin look. Sorry, I'm grabbing my phone to see if anything's written. I think I don't quite get your last message. Don't tease about the bird live later on. I think the birds live for a while. Yeah, I think that's true. Yeah. Okay. Well, I think that, yeah, it's all right. I'm going to put the phone away. I know I've got two of them, right? Yeah. There you go. Oh, that was Max. Did you hear that? Yeah. There you go. All right. I think that's enough for me. I'm going to go and pick up my other daughter and probably get something to eat. So it was wonderful talking to you, Daniela. I think a few people were just happily listening to the conversation, basically. There's quite a few people that were on the chat from time to time. Yes, I know. What we're planning on doing, Max, is later on tonight, we'll get you out, okay? You too, Loki. But I've got to get Livy to clean everything up. All right. Now, have a lovely... I can do this. Yay. Oh, look at that. All right. So have a lovely chomp. Whoop. Yes. Okay, Daniela says good night. So good night. Excellent. Okay. I think I'm going to end the live stream. See what happens now. Have a lovely evening. Everybody else too. I know Daniela was active on the chat, but everyone else was there. So enjoy. Goodbye, everyone. Yes.